The publish flow is the step-by-step pipeline that your binary or app version follows throughout the release process. Publish flows on Appcircle are fully customizable and can be adapted to match your team's workflow. A flow can be configured to send versions to TestFlight, edit and update binary metadata, include approval gateways that pause the pipeline until all required approvals are received, submit the app version to the App Store for review, and track the release status. Let's configure an example workflow for releasing an iOS app to the App Store. The first step in the flow can retrieve app information from App Store Connect. This step compares the release candidate version with the latest versions available in TestFlight and production, giving you a clear overview of what will be released. Then, the binary can be sent to TestFlight for thorough testing. When uploading to TestFlight, you can select the Xcode version and optionally add release notes. After the version comparison is done and version is sent to TestFlight, an approval email can be sent to the release manager to decide whether or not the process should continue. To do this, the Get Approval via Email step can be added. Once added, you can configure the required email addresses, optional approvers, and the minimum number of approvals needed. The flow will not proceed until all required approvers approve and the minimum approval threshold is met. Once all required approvals are received, we begin preparing the binary for App Store submission. Before updating the metadata for the new version, a metadata approval step can be added. This sends an approval email, again, for example, to the release manager, allowing them to review and approve or reject the metadata update. As with other approval steps, required and optional emails and minimum approval counts can be configured. Next, the Update Metadata on App Store Connect step can be added. This step includes a custom UI that previews the metadata to be uploaded. Here, you can choose the Xcode version, decide whether to update screenshots or metadata fields, and optionally clear previously uploaded screenshots. Custom scripts can be added at any point in the pipeline, depending on the additional steps you want to incorporate into your internal release process. For example, before the version is submitted to the App Store, you may want to communicate with Jira or Azure boards to verify that all necessary backend services have been deployed. You can customize the step name and write your script using Bash or Ruby. Now the version is ready to be submitted to the App Store for review. Before submitting, you may choose to have one final approval from the relevant stakeholders. Then, the Add for Review on App Store step can be included. This step submits the new version to Apple for review. You can select the Xcode version here as well. It may also be helpful to notify team members once the version has been submitted. For this, the Send Email step can be added. Inside this step, you can configure the email host, SMTP settings, email provider credentials, subject line, and customizable email content, including environment variables. The final step is to track the status of the submitted version. The Check App Store Release Status step monitors your App Store submission and notifies you whenever the status changes. The step will be marked successful once the version reaches one of the predefined success statuses. For example, if Ready for Sale is defined as a success state, the step will complete when the app's status changes to Ready for Sale, and the publish flow will end. Once a new version is uploaded, it should be marked as a release candidate for starting the publish flow process. A version can only be marked as RC if the bundle ID matches with the profile's bundle ID. The version can also optionally be re-signed and the metadata information is set along with app release information, such as whether the app will be released manually or automatically once it is approved by Apple, whether it will be released to all users, or a phased release, and settings on app ratings. The publish flow can flow. Let's start the flow and observe the process. You can see a comparison dashboard when the app information from App Store step executes, allowing you to compare this new version with the latest versions on TestFlight and in production. Next, the application will be sent to TestFlight. The Get Approval via email step will then move into a waiting state. Team members will receive an email containing details about the binary, along with a link that opens the approval modal. Here, they can review app information, signing details, and release notes. If an issue is found, they can reject the binary with an appropriate message. If everything looks correct, they can approve it. Once all required approvers have approved and the minimum approval count is met, the pipeline continues. The Metadata Approval step will then enter a waiting state. Team members will receive an email containing metadata information and a link to the approval modal. Here, they can review the metadata, approve it if everything is correct, or reject it with a message if an issue is detected. Once all required approvals are received and the minimum approval count is reached, the pipeline continues. The Update Metadata on App Store Connect step will update the metadata directly on App Store Connect. You can also preview these details on the Update Metadata screen. A custom script step, in this example, performs final checks in Jira to ensure all necessary backend services are deployed. After this step completes successfully, the version will be submitted for review on the App Store. Once the application is successfully submitted, a custom email will be sent to the relevant team members, informing them that the version has been submitted for review. As the final step, Check App Store Release Status will periodically check the status of your submission. The step will be marked successful only when the configured success condition is met. While the application is in review, you may need to cancel the submission. This will cancel the current review on the App Store, and a new version must be uploaded and resubmitted. When the application is approved and the status is updated, the workflow completes along with your app release process. In addition, all Publish Flow activities and statuses are reported in Publish Reports and the activity log for record keeping. Thank you for watching.